Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks. And today Wargaming announced that there will be a mission marathon, yeah that's right, another one, for the Renegade, aka the T-54E2, that will start this Friday, the day after we get our well-deserved reward of the Super Hellcat. And as always, on this channel, I've rushed to be able to work out exactly how long it will take you to be able to complete this challenge, unless you just want to get this out. So the Renegade Challenge, Wanted, Dead or Alive, will begin on the 29th of November and it will last for 10 days. During this time, if you want to unlock this Tier 8 American Premium Heavy Tank completely for free, then you're going to have to complete a series of 10 stages, culminating with a rather fancy Dead or Alive style on this tank that I think looks pretty swish. However, these 10 stages are not going to be easy. For any of you who haven't watched my challenge videos before, this one works pretty much in exactly the same way. There's two ways to do it. One is playing Tier 9 and Tier 10 tanks. Two is playing Tier 6 and above tanks. The first one, the Tier 9 and Tier 10, is intended for, should we say, experienced players or people who want to try and rush through it by using their skill. Alternatively, the Tier 6 and above are a lot easier challenges intended for players who just want to relax a little bit and just play the game and do more of a grindy route. So the 10 different stages involve a series of progressively harder and harder tasks to complete. And if you haven't attempted one of these before, it can be quite mysterious just thinking how long it's going to take you to complete each one of the stages. But that's why you subscribe to this YouTube channel, right? So I can work it all out for you, so you can just spend more time playing and less time theory crafting. So while the Renegade Challenge is exactly the same with regards to the TS5 and how long the challenge is going to be, the grind route is very different this time. Previously you had some missions where you just had to finish in the top 10 of your experience of your team. Now it is completely base experience grinding. The first stage is 3,000 and it goes up and up and up and up and up till the final stage, which is 50,000. And we are talking base experience here, boys and girls. This is not including experience boosters. This is not including daily doubles. This is raw base experience in your games. And the only experience that counts is when you're in the top 10 of your team of experience earned. And so this kind of means that for a better player who's going to be maybe in the top 10 of experience 7 out of 8 times, this challenge gets really a lot easier compared to a less experienced player who's maybe only going to be in the top 10 2/3 of the time or even half the time. The other way to be able to complete this challenge, as I mentioned, was either playing Tier 9 or Tier 10 tanks. And you can see that part down this area of the Excel spreadsheet. The first stage requires you to be top on experience of your team once. I really like that because that doesn't require you to win or to lose. It could be in any game, just top on experience. That's nice. 20% damage in the next stage just once. Okay, well, you want to get out your big boy tank destroyers, your Tier 9 or Tier 10 tanks. If you're in a Tier 9 tank, it could be really good to end up in a +2 matchup, or a Tier 10 tank, you could end up against just all Tier 10s, and it's much harder to do 20% of your team's damage when you don't have an advantage with regards to tier. Stage 3 gets a little bit more tricky. Now it's 850 base experience points 5 times, and that's really annoying because your base experience is terrible when you lose, and so this pretty much means that you have to win. Stage 4 is top experience 10 times. Wow, this stage immediately. Stage 4 is literally 10 times harder than stage 1 was. So if you think at the start of the challenge that, oh, this is really easy, I'm going through it super fast, you're going to hit a play wall, trust me, as the stages get much, much harder as you go up. Because while each stage unlocks a 10% discount on the tank, if you want to get it completely for free without paying anything, then you're going to have to do all of it. So of course, the final stages are going to be kind of the real hard play walls that you have to get through, because Wargaming doesn't want to give you that tank for free, right? Next up, top damage 15 times. Next up, 20% of your team's damage 10 times. Stage 7 is 4,500 damage 10 times. Then top damage 20 times. 850 base experience points 25 times. That's going to be a long one. And then top experience 25 times. That's pretty ludicrous, but at least it can happen in a win or a draw or even a loss. In the next column, I give you my recommendation as to whether you should try and complete each stage in Tier 9 or Tier 10 tanks. And then after that, I've estimated the number of the games that it will take me to be able to do this. Now look, if you're a much better player at dealing damage than I am, then maybe you're going to do 4,500 damage in more than 1 in 3 games that I've estimated for myself. Again, these are just estimates, and then what I've done is create a total time that it will take to be able to complete each stage, and this value is in hours. And I've worked this out by estimating that each game is going to be roughly about 7 minutes long. That's including the time to leave the game and get into the next game. And all in all, if I was to complete this challenge by playing tier 9 or tier 10 tanks and I was trying my heart out, I've estimated that it would take me 42.58 hours if I was to go via the tier 9 and tier 10 route. However, if you want to go and complete this challenge by grinding up some tier 6s, some tier 7s, or even just by playing premium tanks the entire time, and you don't want to have to try hard at tier 9 and tier 10, I've estimated that it would take me averaging 600 base experience on my free to play account. It would take me about 47 hours over the 10 days, nearly 48 hours, if I was just playing any vehicle tier 6 plus with my 600 average base experience points, and that is estimating that I'm going to be in the top 10 in 7 out of 8 games. So let's quickly talk about all of the rewards that are up for grabs in this challenge, and Wargaming RU released this nice infographic here. The best rewards are by far the credit boosters. You can combine these with your premium tank afterwards and hopefully a premium day to make a whopping amount of credits, or even just save them for frontline. You can get a full set of equipment for your Renegade, 3 days of premium, which actually are released in stages 4, 7, and 9 respectively, and so you can use those to spread the days out. Maybe you want to try and just activate one of them by completing the stage to be able to make your next grind on the following day all that much easier. Other good rewards are maybe some of the 6th Sense consumables for some of your tanks. That's really pushing it. And 1.1 million credits is always nice. You get a special Brothers in Arms crew if you manage to complete the challenge with the vehicle, which is a fantastic reward because that's going to be a 0 skill crew. And of course, a garage slot to go with the tank. But all in all, I have to admit, these rewards are actually significantly worse than the previous challenge for the TS5, as previously you got 20 hours of 50% extra credits. Now you're only getting 10 hours. In addition to this, the credit rewards, if you're including the cost that the equipment gives you, was 2.6 million in the previous challenge, and in this challenge it is 1.9 million. And the amount of premium days that you've got have gone from 5 down to 3. And this is incredibly awkward if you're the kind of player who wants to maybe do some heavy grinding sessions 5 days out of the 10 where you play for maybe 5 or 10 hours with those premium days rather than just playing a little bit over the entire time. As now, with only 3 premium days, unless you play heavily and very intensely over those 3 days, you're not going to have the full benefit of a premium account for the majority of this challenge. So next you might be thinking, well, QuickyBaby, I can't average 600 base experience points in all of my games. What's it actually going to take me to be able to achieve it depending on how much average experience I get? Well, then you want to look at this table, and I might as well make it larger for you here. So if you average 100 base experience points, I've estimated that it's going to take you 5,020 games over those 10 days to be able to unlock this challenge. That is 502 games a day, and with a 6-minute estimated game timer, we are talking about 50 hours of gameplay per day, and considering there's only 24 hours in the day, I don't think that's going to be possible unless you've got some kind of time machine. Even if you were to get your friend to play on the account for you, if they were getting 100 base experience points when you sleep, it would still be statistically impossible. Alright, if you can get 200 base experience points per game, then it's going to take you 2,282 games, 228 games per day, 23 hours of World of Tanks gameplay. So in theory, if you were to play for like 11 hours a day, 11 and a half hours a day, and then you were to get your mate to log on and play 11 and a half hours a day, then you could get the tank for free. And please tell me your mate's name, because I'd also like to employ him as well to do some kind of task for me. All right, 300 base experience points. And I'd like to clarify that this is not outlandish. 300 base experience points means that you're definitely not the best player of World of Tanks, but you're far from the worst. If you get 300 base experience points, you will have to play, I estimate, 14 hours a day for about 1,400 battles over those 10 days to be able to complete this challenge. Simply ridiculous. 400 base experience points. Let's skip that one. Let's move on to 500 base experience points. This is pretty good. 500 base experience points means that with a premium account, you average 750 experience inside your in-game statistics if you're always playing with a premium account. It's going to take you 7 hours a day, boys and girls. 72 games a day. Now, if like me on my free-to-play account, you average 600 base experience points, we're talking about 56 games a day. I've estimated that's about 5.5 hours a day over the next 10 days to get this tank completely for free. And then if, like me, when you're playing with all of the advantages that you could ever possibly have, and you're playing your best tanks, like your Comets for me, or my Standard B, or maybe some of my really good Tier 8 premium tanks, or even maybe my Object 279E at Tier 10, and I can get 800 base experience points, then that would be 37 games per day. And still, for me, tryharding on my main account, it's going to be between 3.5 and 4 hours per day for a 10-day period to be able to get that tank for free. That is an incredibly long time. Now, just for those of you out there who are thinking, well, how does this work out? Why does it take so much longer for somebody who gets 500 than it does for somebody who gets 600? Well, that's because of the top 10 requirement that you have to finish in your games. So I've included this by estimating that somebody who gets 800 base experience points will finish in the top 10 in about 85% of their games, whereas somebody who gets 600, top 10 maybe 75% of their games, whereas if you're getting 300 average experience per game, I think you might be only in the top 10 2/3 of the time. And so literally 1/3 of your games won't even count. And so this is why the time per day is actually more of an exponential curve to a point where it's impossible, because frankly, Wargaming have put the requirements in to stop people playing overly aggressively and to stop people using bot programs to be able to complete this challenge. And the problem is their requirements to stop the aggressive play and to stop the bot requirements sometimes mean that you just make no progress for your games. And when you need to be playing that much per day, then that can be pretty soul-destroying, right? So the crazy thing for me in this challenge, boys and girls, and here are the last 3 challenges that we've had. I've estimated the time per day for the EBR, the TS5, and the Renegade. And the Renegade is the first one where I think it's statistically impossible to be able to complete if you only get 100 average experience. However, take a look at how long it will take the Renegade to be able to get the tank compared to the previous vehicle. Let's do it for my free-to-play account where I average 600 base experience points. To be able to unlock the TS5, I had to play for 3.5 hours per day. Not too bad, right? Now to be able to get the Renegade, I have to play for 5.5 hours per day on average. And that's because Wargaming have bumped up the amount of experience that it requires to be able to get through all of the stages massively. For some players, this means that the amount of time that you'll have to spend to complete this challenge compared to the TS5 is now double. That's right. If you are getting 400 average experience in your game of World of Tanks, it is going to take you 9 hours per day to unlock this tank for free. That's over twice as long as it would have for the TS5. Think about this for a second. All right, so for the TS5, if you'd got 400 average experience in each one of your games, it would have taken you the same time as if you can get 700 average experience in each of your games to be able to unlock the Renegade. I really don't understand why Wargaming have done this, considering that I feel like the TS5 was actually the first challenge that was kind of reasonable to complete for the very dedicated World of Tanks player. Now we're talking about the kind of player who literally has no job, no life, or is at least willing to brush all of that aside for a 10-day period and just play completely hardcore to be able to get a 20 or 30 euro tank for free. Sure, the package is really good. You manage to get a load of great things, as I've highlighted. But is it worth it to be able to get a load of pixels inside a video game and to have to sacrifice that time around this holiday period? Maybe you've got some final exams coming up. Maybe you're trying to do some coursework for your university. Maybe you're trying to put a few extra shifts in at work to be able to afford those extra Christmas presents. This time of year gets very expensive, right? And I really don't like to see Wargaming kind of putting the squeeze on, because in my opinion, boys and girls, not only are they giving us less, they're giving us less premium time, they're giving us less credits, they're giving us less credit boosters, they're increasing the amount of time that it takes to be able to complete this challenge by pretty much about 50%. So the Renegade challenge, wanted, Renegade, dead or alive. I mean, honestly, with the kind of irresponsible gaming habits that Wargaming are trying to promote here to be able to unlock this vehicle for free, like, I would actually be worried that this is actually going to have a detrimental health impact on players who have to try and push themselves towards the end because they've miscalculated how long it's going to be able to take them to be able to do things. They'll think, oh, I've got an entire day to do the last stage. Well, for me, boys and girls, playing my heart out. It's going to take me 10 hours to be able to do the final stage. That's either playing on my best account or that's still grinding on my free-to-play account as well. And so don't be fooled by the flashy graphics of the video that they've released, by all of their lovely imagery and the infographics they're releasing, especially on the Russian server, to say what you can manage to get and to give you this idea that you can be able to unlock the vehicle completely for free, or at least you can get a meaty discount on it. If you really do want to get this thing for free, it's going to take you more time than I think is worthwhile. And I think it's very disappointing that Wargaming have literally increased the requirements to be able to complete this challenge to a point where it's almost practically laughable to be able to try and do it yourself. But if for some reason I haven't managed to dissuade you, good luck, boys and girls. I still haven't decided whether I want to try and achieve this one myself over the next 10 days, as it's going to just be so insurmountable, and the amount of time I'll have to be able to invest at this time of year where I'm trying to get YouTube videos out daily, and saying that I'm going to have to stream that for that long on my free-to-play account to be able to get this vehicle just seems pretty mad. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, I really hope that you appreciate that I've done all the hard work so that you don't have to, but let's be honest, if you do want to do this challenge, you've still got a very large amount of hard work ahead of you. But hopefully I've made it just that much easier, right? If I have and you like the video, give it a thumbs up and let your friends know. But if you hated it, make sure you give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments whether you are going to be attempting the Renegade challenge. And what do you think about the fact that Wargaming have bumped up the requirements so much while also just giving us less for our time? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.